Hey everybody, you're listening to another episode of the WolfPack Podcast. Today is episode number 116, and today we are going to be talking about Star Wars Rebels Season 1, Episode 9, Idiot's Array, and this is a return of an old friend. Joining me tonight is also Dan.
Hello!
And that's about it for tonight. Everybody else is gone, so for now they'll be back next week or this Friday. But we're going to be talking about this new Rebels episode that just came on the Disney XD app yesterday after a very weird week absence of no episode.
Yeah, they were gone, then they were back, and they were gone, and they were back.
I hope they don't do that again because we're only down to 4 episodes. That is not a lot. So
Probably space it out a little.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's only 13 episodes in the season, so I hope that Season 2 has more so it's more consecutive, because this just feels like it's going from one episode, then like a 5-week break, and then we came back, and then another break. So hopefully that stops, but we'll see. So yeah, this episode was something that we've been waiting for a while, because Lando Calrissian is back in this episode, and that's something that when we had Freddie on.
What have we here?
Yeah, we had Freddie on. The first time we talked with him, he was telling us about how cool it was that Lando was back, and here's a pretty cool promotional image of Lando returning. So yeah, those of you who aren't able to watch the episode on Disney XD, you can watch it on. Or the app, you can watch it on Disney XD next Monday. So yeah, it's kind of a wait, but yeah, Lando's back.
So now I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Star Wars Weekends Billy D kind of strongly hint that he was doing a voice on the show? So we've known he's been back since May.
He actually didn't even say he just flat out said he was.
Yeah.
Somebody asked him at a panel, and he said, "Yep, I recorded one episode. It was lots of fun." So, oh no, he confirmed.
That one finally aired.
Yeah, he confirmed he was Lando, and then Logan asked him when he went to go see him, at the lines, and he said that he'd only filmed one episode. So, yeah, now we finally get to see him. Yeah,
one episode so far.
So, what was that?
He's only filmed one episode so far.
So far, right. So maybe I think he'll be back in the next season, maybe the season after. But I think we'll see Lando again. He seems like he's a cool fit with the cast. But yeah, so let's start off with what happened at the beginning of this episode. We get, of course, Zeb playing Sabak. And basically Zeb wants to obviously win. They need the credits, and they bet Chopper, which obviously isn't the smartest move. So they bet Chopper, and Lando won by getting...
Like, I got the winning hand here. I'm gonna win, no problem whatsoever. He doesn't know he's up against the master, Lando Calrissian.
Exactly. So Lando won by using an idiot's array, as he said, and it kind of
took off his favorite move, deck, hand. I don't know. I think that's his favorite.
Yeah, that seems to be what his winning card, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. And he gets brought, onto the Ghost because obviously Chopper is now his property. So he's meeting everybody, and Hera's not too happy about it. I actually really like the way they animated him. He looks very cool. He's got a gold chain around his neck. I like where the blaster is. It's right on his side. We've never really seen something like that, I don't think.
In Return of the Jedi, that's where he wore his blaster, although he never used it.
Oh, really? I thought he had a holster for it.
It was hanging off the side. It went across his chest.
Oh, okay. So that's an homage for you. I like the outfit. I think it was cool, very smuggler-like.
What I really liked about his outfit here is he's got that little gold chain, and they don't show animated chest hairs. You could just imagine his chest hairs poking out.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
I
Now,
like he's got his little gold chain. He's like, yeah, I got my bling on.
that would be hilarious. That would. How old is he supposed to be here? I mean, he kind of looks a little bit young, but I'm saying
I
in
think
his mid.
this is Lando's. I mean, chronologically that we've seen, or I don't know about seen, but read. Um, I mean, Lando Calrissian was the star of 3 novels way back in the day, and he actually owned the Millennium Falcon, flew around with a droid called Vufira, and none of those other elements are here. So this has to take place prior to that, I would think. So this is a young Lando, probably in his early to mid 20s, perhaps.
Well, that's true, but remember, all that stuff isn't canon anymore. So,
Okay, that's true too. But I
so you gotta be
prefer to still
politically
think of
correct
my
here.
Star Wars as being somewhat legit.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be cool if the Millennium Falcon appeared, since this should be the time where he has it.
Yeah.
But it was not. I think they would save that for something a little bit later towards the end of the series, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not
Um,
really sure. I mean, I remember dropping a big hint when we interviewed Freddie that one time, and I would see if he would bite, and he did not. He's way too good for that. Um, but no Millennium Falcon in this episode. Lando also is not Fulcrum that we had guessed
no, he.
way back, because he might have mentioned that.
Yeah, we
And
thought that Lando was like before we had any speculation about Ahsoka or Leia. We thought he was gonna be Fulcrum, but
right,
obviously he's not. So
yeah.
that leaves the
Although I
door.
do like the way him and Hera got along in this episode.
They did. Hera had a thing for him. It looked like she didn't want to give.
I don't know if it was a thing for him.
Maybe they have a history. I don't think so.
I don't know. They certainly had a good rapport.
Yeah. So he's brought on board. They gotta, get him to his buyer. This is the whole point of it. That if uh, Kanan and the crew takes him to his buyer and does everything for him, he'll give the droid back, Chopper, and then he'll also pay them. And so that's exactly what happens. But obviously, everybody has a bad feeling about Lando. Zeb does not like him at all because of the sheer fact that Zeb lost. And this particular picture is where Lando is looking at Sabine's artwork, and if you notice the stormtroopers that are painted, the way the helmet is drawn, it almost looks like a Episode 7 helmet.
Hmm.
So that I thought that was interesting. You get
Kind of looks like the Phoenix right there, don't you think?
yeah, this is the Rebels logo right here,
Yeah,
the Phoenix logo, and very Ahsoka looking tattoos going on right there, but
yeah.
you know.
Got to put her in somehow, right?
Right. And here, you said it best, Dan. This is Chopper with drink.
I know. It's Bar 2 Chopper.
That's right. So R2 got the treatment, now Chopper gets the treatment. So that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that's really cool about Lando in here, he's just so chill. He just lets things happen. He goes with the flow kind of thing, and whatever happens happens. And it seems like he's taking a liking to Sabine. It looked like Ezra thought that Lando was hitting on Sabine. I didn't get that impression from when I was watching it. I thought he was just interested in the art. So.
Well, Lando's a smooth talker no matter what. I think he has kind of like a flirting thing with everybody. It's not necessarily, he's hitting on Sabine.
Right.
He's just a smooth talker, and, that's how he gets what he wants.
Yeah.
And in this episode, we see he does that in a number of ways.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I like that this, Lando's character doesn't use the usual stuff that we see in Star Wars, like to get their way, whether it's through the Force or, through killing somebody with a blaster. He just uses his voice because he's cool. Billy D. Williams as Lando is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And this is wow, we've gotten so many cool appearances of different actors from the original trilogy in this season alone, and we're only 9 episodes in.
Right, I know.
Yeah, so we
I
started
know.
obviously with Darth Vader, um, R2D2 and C3PO, Yoda, Bail Organa from Revenge of the Sith. So you
Yeah.
know we're getting into some awesome characters here, and I hope that this trend continues. I like how they do some episodes, and then all of a sudden they come back, and it's an episode with an original trilogy character. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
I think we're going to see a lot more of that because they're trying to tie in to the original trilogy era, obviously, in anticipation of The Force Awakens and building the nostalgia for well, all of Star Wars, but mainly for the original trilogy. And I would not be surprised at all if we did see the Millennium Falcon show up at some point, and it'll probably be with Han and Chewie. But as I said before, I would love to even see the game take place where Han beats Lando.
I agree. I agree. I think that'd be kind of cool if it's something where that happens, and you know the rebels are in that bar since they seem to like it so much.
They're
So
always hanging out at the bar. I love it. That's their cantina. That's where all the action goes down in Star Wars, is on
right.
in cantinas.
They're just always depressed about the Empire, and sometimes they just need to go there. So I think it'd be kind of cool if they walk in there, and Lando and Han are there, and they're, like you said, they're trying to get the Millennium Falcon, and they kind of partake in watching that go down.
Yeah.
That would be very, very cool. Um, Also, there was one part where I thought Chewbacca was going to be in the episode, but that's coming up. So now Lando meets with his buyer and or his supplier to get what he needs, and his plan is to kind of give away Hera as a slave to this dude.
Yeah.
Um, this is a comparison photo I found on Facebook. Unfortunately,
Oh, I
I'm
saw
not
that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure who made this, so I'm sorry if I can't credit you, but if you made it, you can let us know in the comments below. This is actually a concept art from Rolf McQuarrie of Jabba the Hutt.
Right.
So that
This is
was
back when they really had no idea what Jabba the Hutt was going to be. They were at one point in Star Wars thinking it would be an actor inside of a suit. And then they thought maybe they would somehow animate, maybe stop motion or something, for Jabba the Hutt in Episode 4. But then by the time we got to Episode 6, they had redesigned him completely and came up with the puppet we all now know and love, the big slug.
That's right, and I like Jabba way better the way we have him now than this.
Right.
This one is basically the Hobbit's Goblin King. This is exactly what it is. That's exactly what I thought about when I first saw it. I thought of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. That's what I thought they were doing at first,
Mm.
until I looked it up and found out. I actually did not know this was the original Jabba.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I can't remember exactly, but remember in the Clone Wars they had the Council of the Hutts? I
Right.
think one of them may have been partially inspired by this drawing. I can't quite remember what they all look like, but I know they did use a lot of concept art for those other bosses, if you will.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that was very cool. Leia is then sold to her, and this is the part where Freddie was telling us that Kanan does not like Lando. You can tell that there's tension between the two, and they get back on the Ghost, and Kanan's not happy about it, but Lando says it's part of the plan. And basically, Hera knocks this guy out with a tray,
Mm.
which was interesting. He just gets, totally knocked out. And she goes after the guards. Now, the guards that guarded this guy actually look pretty sweet. I don't have a screen cap of those, but those
Yeah.
guys are cool. Yeah, this was an interesting character. I can see this being a part of Mission Series 2-pack with this guy and one of those guards. I'm not sure if that would sell, so I don't know if that would be
Right,
something
right.
Hasbro would be looking into do. But then they get back on the ship. Hera escapes in an escape pod, and they get back on. And here is the thing that was in the crate: a looking dude that explodes if you scare him.
It's a puffer pig.
Puffer pig, yeah. Now I thought in this crate, and I knew when the crate came out it was too small, But I think it would have been cool if Chewbacca was in the crate and Lando was smuggling Chewie away from the Empire from slavery. I think that would have been cool.
See, I don't know about that. I know the previous expanded universe is completely out of it now, but I kind of always liked how it was Han Solo that rescued Chewbacca
Oh,
from slavery of the Empire. So yeah, I don't know. I think I prefer to think that they would still do that.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. We already had Wookiee slaves in the premiere, so I don't think they'll revisit that. Or maybe they would. I don't know.
Well, what I mean basically is Chewie has already been enslaved. Chewie knows who Han is. Han already rescued him, but this is the second time that the Empire has captured him.
Yeah.
I think they would probably just kill him if they saw him again, though.
I don't know. I think bringing somebody like Chewbacca back into a series, they're going to make that an event.
Right. Like they
Yeah,
did with the Clone Wars. That was heavily
exactly.
advertised.
Exactly.
So it's kind of cool that in animation we've seen so many original trilogy characters. I mean, Lando, Chewbacca, R2, 3PO. I can't remember if there was any others. Tarkin,
Tarkin, yeah, sure.
Vader. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm hoping. I think we will see Han, Luke, and Leia and Chewbacca all in this series at some point. You know what? I think that's a given. Um, I think we know what's going on here. Leia could be Fulcrum, so I mean, in
Right.
all honesty, I think that's what they're leaning towards now. I thought Ahsoka, but
I called that from the beginning, man.
yeah, I think you may be
I
right. I
think
mean,
it
I thought
could
for the
be. I
longest
really
time it could
do.
have been Ahsoka. Now I think they're trying to trip us up, and I think it's probably Leia too. It's probably not even voiced by Ashley. And they probably just asked Ashley to come in, do a quick, recording, and then just make it so if people process that, it comes out as Ashley. But I think if anybody's going to voice Leia, it's going to be Kat Tabor. So
Hmm.
I don't
Interesting.
think Ashley's going to voice Leia. I don't think that would work
Right.
unless she like really changes her voice. And it could still be Ahsoka. I still think there's a potential to be Ahsoka, but it really just feels like they're leaning towards original trilogy all the time. So I think that
Yeah.
um, it's probably going to be Leia. But yeah, we got this puffer fish, puffer pig, and they go back on Lethal. And what do you know? The fat guy, the fake Jabba the Hutt is waiting for them. And a huge shootout happens. Ezra uses
Now
his
that
single
guy.
gun.
Okay. Let's just talk about that guy for a second. All right. I know the design came from a Macquarie sketch and everything, and that's really cool. But that guy's got to be the most ridiculous anatomy for an alien. He was a beach ball with limbs.
Right.
And like there's a scene where there's a fight that goes on, and he's fighting one of the other characters. I'm like, really? You can't take him out?
Oh, Zeb, right.
Yeah.
You see,
Like, you
here's the
can't take
problem with
out the
that.
beach ball guy? Come on.
When Zeb was fighting him, all right, this is what probably would have happened. When he sees him out of the corner of the eye, Zeb would have turned around and shot him right there.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, I
Isn't
agree.
he
That was
supposed to
kind
be
of
like
like
a great warrior? I
he
know,
was
war's
a
not make him
Lasat.
great, but still, I think Zeb was a great warrior at one point.
Yeah, he was a Lasat Royal Guard. So I mean, that definitely counts for something.
Yeah, now he's like a buffoon.
He was had a good fight against Callus. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
that was
pretty
true. Yeah,
this guy wouldn't have been Callus level, fighting this fat Jabba the Hutt looking guy.
yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember his name. I actually there's a lot of characters you saw in the Clone Wars. You would watch it was an alien species and you'd be like, this is an annoying character.
Right.
Kind of like Snai Snoodles.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, this dude, I mean, I remember I messaged you right away. I'm like, okay, so this is the same voice as that stupid snake creature that followed Savage around.
I looked at the credits and it was not.
It's
So
not? Oh my god, it sounded just like him.
you know what's funny though? The same actor who voiced the snake creature Ben Diskin, who actually interviewed, he's never done Rebels, but he did this episode as a guard. So that kind
Get
of
out.
cracked me up. Um,
Oh, I'm sure I heard that snake voice So maybe it was the guard talking. I
Could
don't
be.
know.
Could be.
Yeah.
And Ezra uses his staple gun lightsaber. So he fires it and it shoots into somebody, and it's basically a blue lightsaber bolt kind of going right into somebody's chest. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's something we haven't seen before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he lost his slingshot. It's done. It's gone.
I mean, he brings out the staple gun, and Kanan's like, no, 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 no lightsabers. He's like, oh, don't worry, I got this covered. I was like, shoot the staples.
Yeah, yeah. It was it was definitely cool to see Ezra finally use it. I can't wait to see him use it in action.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
we do know.
Hey, man, you just found the toy, right?
Oh yeah, at Target they had the lightsaber, Ezra's lightsaber. It was cool, not $35, but it lit up. It had darts. You could fire it. They timed it quite rightly, I think. So that's kind of cool.
It's like they knew.
For figures, look, that lightsaber you've seen on, figures countless times. 12-inch figure had it.
Yeah.
Even the 18-inch figure had the lightsaber. So,
As Jason said last week, and we talked about as early as Toy Fair last February, back in the Kenner days, the 12-inch Luke Skywalker and Ben Kenobi, their lightsabers had the guard kind of over it because they had rubbery hands that was like this. They never moved. You had to fit the hand into the slot in order to hold the lightsaber.
that's right.
So this kind of reminded everybody of that. They were all like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of like that."
It is, and I think that's probably what they were going for. I mean, this is all a throwback series to everything that's been involved with Star Wars. So basically, the episode ends where Lando doesn't pay them. Chopper walks away. Chopper actually steals Lando's fuel container, and he doesn't get it. And Lando basically says at the end
I
of
was
that,
wondering what that thing was.
yeah, I guess that was fuel for I don't know, but Lando knew that the reason he didn't pay them was because they were taking his fuel. So he's not that stupid.
Sure. And now Lando is what? This was on Lothal.
Yeah. Yep.
So now Lando's on Lothal.
I think
Is
he
that
was
right?
just making. He was
Or no, it
making a
wasn't Lothal.
delivery.
He took Vizago's old hideout.
Yeah, he was trying to give that to Vizago. So,
Okay.
and that's how the fake Jabba the Hutt knew he was there because he introduced.
He introduced him.
Yeah.
So we'll probably see Vizago again, I would imagine. And maybe he'll come with Lando, in tow.
Yeah. So spoiler alert for those of you who don't want to know about the next
too late.
episodes. This is about what you just said, Dan, with Vizago. There will be another Vizago episode about him fighting a Wookiee. So we do know that Vizago actually helped the rebels rescue the Wookiees. So this should be interesting to see what's going on. We should be getting a lightsaber duel between Ezra, Kanan versus the Inquisitor. So there's only 4 episodes left in Rebels, believe it or not. Wait. Yeah, 4 episodes, and then we're done with the season. So
Wow.
we're getting very close. I believe these next 4 episodes are an arc. This is where it kind of picks up with Inquisitor and Callus again, and apparently a stunning season 1 finale. So we'll have to see what's going on with that. And obviously, we don't get season 2 till April when Celebration
Right.
comes, and it'll premiere there. So I'm assuming that season 2 will probably premiere everywhere in May or June, or July. Yeah, but that's pretty much this whole episode. I mean, look, Lando's back. This made an episode probably for me a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing I didn't like about it was the fake Jabba the Hutt, and the only reason that would be is I agree with what you said. It was very unrealistic that Zeb wouldn't be able to take him down because we've seen Zeb in action. So that's the only part I have a gripe with. Other than that, I think the episode was fantastic. Hearing Billy D again was incredible, and we got him sooner than we thought. So that was cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Having Billy D back as Lando Calrissian, that's right there, going to be cool. And I think I kind of wish that we didn't know about it prior. In a way, like, you know what I mean? Like, we were talking about Frank Oz being Yoda. Like, why couldn't you just let that happen,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Same
see,
thing with, yeah.
when we want to be surprised during, like, that's something I loved about Clone Wars was a lot of the times you didn't know when a character would appear in it, and when they Greedo also appeared in Clone Wars, another original trilogy character. Um, you would sometimes find out a week prior when they would, say in next week's episode, but that was a surprise. You're like, oh my gosh, Greedo's going to be in the next episode. They didn't announce it like 7 months prior. So,
Right,
um,
right.
I think
I don't know.
one thing about the Yoda thing was that could have been a well kept secret. Nobody knew about it. That could have been a
Yeah.
good secret. Obviously, Billy D talked about Rebels a weekend, so I mean, right there, it's okay. But
Right. We
as
knew
far as
that was coming, so that's fine. But I mean, having him show up again was in this format, very, very cool. I hope they do a lot more of this type of stuff. He's the perfect character to bring in into Rebels. It's not one of the main heroes, if you will, at least
yeah,
not yet. I still think we're going to see Leia at some point. Um, and then the relationship and the rapport, the camaraderie between Billy D, or sorry, with Lando and the rest of the crew, that was really cool to see. And as the series is progressing, we're getting to know the characters a lot more, and it's not just about Jedi and lightsabers and all this stuff in the Force. And that's, to me, I've said this before, that's one of the things that I always loved about Star Wars was the whole underworld kind of smuggling and alien type of thing that we saw a lot of in this episode. So I'm going to have to go pretty high on this one as well. I never give it 10, so I'll say a 9.
well, and there was one thing I was thinking. So obviously, the season is coming to an end. There was rumor of only 2 seasons, but I think we're probably going to get more than that. But I don't
Oh,
know. Who
yeah.
knows? I think it would be cool if we have Rebels go into the movies, not the movie theaters. Go into Episode 4, New Hope, see what they're doing during that time frame.
Oh, sort of like just off camera type thing.
Right, and in Empire Strikes Back, we do see interaction between them, Luke, Han, Leia, and Lando. Because you
Mm.
know what? I don't think we can rule that out. Because just because, I mean, think about how many people are in the rebellion. Just because Luke doesn't mention every single soul that's in the rebellion doesn't necessarily mean that they're not in it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we could definitely see that happen. The only characters that I think won't appear that far into the show would have to be Kanan and Ezra, and the only reason for that is because in Empire Strikes Back, Yoda says that Luke is their only hope, and
Mhm.
he is their only hope. He's the last Jedi. I know Yoda says there is another, but he's referring to Leia as far as we know. So I
Yeah.
don't think that I don't think that Ezra and Kanan can be Jedi. I think Ezra there's two things that can happen here. I know a lot of things when Ahsoka, everybody's like, "Oh, Ahsoka's gonna die." That couldn't be the case because she could have left the temple. That was something, a possibility.
Right, right.
I really don't think they're gonna repeat that with Ezra and Kanan. I mean, are they gonna walk away from being Jedi's? I don't think if they do that again, it's like a repeat of what happened with Ahsoka.
I got to be honest, I haven't really thought about where the cast of Rebels fits into the original trilogy. I'm kind of not worried about it necessarily. I'm just enjoying the ride as we go along.
Oh yeah,
I I actually would love to see something like you just described, where either a special episode, perhaps, where we see what these guys are doing during the events of the original trilogy. But you got to remember, the first Star Wars movie probably took place over the span of a couple days.
right.
You know, I don't imagine. I don't know how far Lothal is compared to Tatooine, but they probably weren't even there. And that's 5 years after we see here, right?
Right, right.
So there's plenty of time to, if they choose to continue Rebels, to develop these characters further and continue their storylines, however that ends up being.
I think that would be something that would be cool. Like, one episode, it says like 10 years later, and it's an Empire Strikes Back, and
Yes.
or maybe it's a Return of the Jedi, and here's like, Lando just blew up the Death Star. The Death Star is finished, and it's something like that, and then it leads into another series. I think what's going to end up happening is when Force Awakens comes out, Rebels is going to be on its way out, and I
I
think
agree.
I think it's going to have 2 seasons on TV and then possibly 1 or 2 seasons on Netflix. And the reason I think this is
Oh, you
because
think
I
Netflix?
think they're developing another series, kind of like the rumor was that it's going to be a series that shows you the Force Awakens. It's in that time period. I think Disney would want to do that,
Yep.
where you get new characters in that same time period. So whether
So,
or
so
not that
maybe we
happens.
should save this for Friday's show, really, or we kind of talked about it last week a little
Yep.
bit.
Yep.
But with the new detours, now that there's a big rumor that might be coming out, the digital release of all the Star Wars films, I mean, there's definitely something happening with the Star Wars brand and digital content. So, maybe having a series like this or multiple series, whether it's animated or live action or whatever, that would definitely continue the brand and bring us new entertainment every week, perhaps, or I don't. People just stream everything nowadays, so it's
Yeah,
easier.
definitely. So we'll see what happens with that, and yeah, we'll be back next Tuesday, hopefully, if there's another episode. Hopefully we
Right?
don't skip another week. So hopefully there is 4 episodes left.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. And if you're looking for Star Wars Rebels action figures, check out our sponsor, DorksideToys.com. They got them all because you're not going to find them in stores. Let me tell you that. Um,
No.
yeah. And
The
for the
only
latest,
the only Rebels branded toys that I found are actually like clone Obi-Wan and um the original clone trooper. That's the only things that I've seen. I have not seen the Rebels characters single carded on the Rebels. Well, on in stores. I haven't seen them.
right? Yeah, that's rebelism at Hasbro's finest. So, thank
Yeah.
you all for watching another episode and listening to what we have to say about Idiots Array. We'll be back next week. We have no idea what the next 2 episodes are about. We don't know what the titles are, so it's going to be a surprise from here on out. So, thank you for listening, and you can check us out on iTunes, Facebook,
Don't
www.thewolfpackpodcast.com.
forget that.
Can't forget that. Uh, Twitter and Google Plus, and Logan would like me to deliver a message, and he'd like to say that he's not dead. He is still going to come to the show at some point. He's been very tied up with uh, with a lot of work and all that good stuff, so he'll be back at some point. He's shooting for next Tuesday, and that's pretty much it. We'll all be back here on Friday with special guest Paul Harrison from
Oh
Gentleman
yeah.
Archives. Yeah, so. Paul will be on Friday. So may the force be with you guys. Oh,
See
you can
ya.
find Dan on Dan's Facebook page.
I'm everywhere.
All right.
Keep making faces, whatever.